CQ, the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This net meets 3 times weekly. Tuesday mornings 9 a.m., Thursday mornings 9 a.m., Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. on this frequency. This net is conducted in the Amplitude Modulation mode and carried out in the old-fashioned roundtable format. We welcome any station capable of generating an AM signal to participate. The net is an excellent place to get information, look for parts and pieces, and maybe sell a rig or two. The net is catering towards the vintage type gear, but any rig that produces AM is welcome to participate. So, CQ the Old Friends Net, and at this time I will stand by for stations wishing to check in.
N4LQ.
KN4R. K4GDN.
KZ4 Bravo.
WFD Whiskey Foxtrot 2 uniform.
WB4NKL.
K3OS.
November 4 Alpha Kilo N4 AK.
Alright, let me tell you what I have. We had 2 doubles. One right off the bat. The one that won that one was WA4FJQ. Who checked in first there with Tom?
N4LQ.
All right, Steve. We've got you down here. And then I have, all right, this is the order so far. FJQ, LQ, KN4R, GDN, KZ4B, and there was a double there. WF2U, WB4NKL, K3OS, N4AK. Did I miss?
K4QE.
All right, I'm going to put you after KZ4B. K4QE. All righty. Who else we have?
KJ4YEV.
All right, KJ4YEV. Others?
W4MEC.
K4VWD.
All right, we'll add Al and Charlie and Lee. Any other station?
Alpha Delta 5 Sierra X-ray.
Alpha Delta 5 Sierra X-ray. Okay. Others? All right. Let me give you the list one more time. WA4FJQ, N4LQ, KN4R, K4GDN, KZ4B, K4QE, WF2U, WB4NKL, K3OS, N4AK, KJ4YEV, W4MEC, K4VWD, AD4SX. One more time, any other station? All right, nothing heard. Good afternoon to everybody. We have about 40 degrees, partly cloudy and windy up here in the eastern jungles of Yancey County. And hope all you fellas are doing well. I'm running the BC610C and receiving on an HQ 150 to a dipole up about 50 feet, flat top. So that's the conditions here from Dave in Burnsville. So we'll go ahead and start the list off with Tom, WA4FJQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, this is WA4FJQ, Tom in High Point. Okay, the rig here is AF68 feeding a 30L1 up to an in-fed half-wave antenna and running it through a 10-tech tuner for the first time. So I had to play with some of the tuning on that, and hopefully I've got a decent signal. I'm showing about 350 watts output at this point and receiving on a 75 S3C. So let me turn it over to Steve, N4LQ. This is WA4FJQ.
Okay, Tom, WA4FJQ, N4LQ. Name is Steve, and I'm in Shelby, North Carolina, where it is a balmy 53 degrees and kind of sort of clear. We're running the Lysco 600S, which is putting out a whopping 3 watts into the AL82, and with 150% modulation, she's kicking up over 600, about 700 watts PEP. The antenna is a full wave horizontal loop of 100 feet, fed with open wire line and a Johnson KW matchbox. So it's been a long time since I've had this rig on the air. It is both crystal and VFO controlled. The crystal sets the approximate frequency, and the variable capacitor in the VFO gets it down to the Nat's hair. So, good morning, Brian. KN4R, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group. This is KN4R. Brian, Cheryl's Ford, North Carolina, where it's a nice 51 degrees, very windy, or at least it has been today, and Lake Norman is very muddy, and we got white caps from the wind. So, Steve, the Lysco 600S sounds great and very good on your high degree of modulation and your slider. That sounds good. I'm using the Globe Champ 350 here, about 200 watts or so, listening on a pre-World War II black National HRO. So over to you, George. And all the signals sound great, by the way. K4GDN in the group, KN4R.
KN4R in the group, K4GDN. Here in Myrtle Beach, I think it's in the 50s. It was kind of chilly last night. And today I'm running the Drake 4B pair, obviously control carrier, and I'm feeding that into the Collins 30L1. And when I tuned it up for around 300 mils current, so I'm probably peaking a couple of hundred watts on the modulation. Don't have a good peak reading meter. But at any rate, that's running here, and I'm using a center fed dipole. And I would be curious as to what it sounds like on the next time around. So John, coming to you, K4B in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, K4GDN in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, George. There's a little QS Baker today, but it's not hurting anybody so far. My beloved 3715 crystal is dead. It had some slightly skinnier than normal pins, and coupled with the somewhat lousy crystal socket on the T150, it fell down 5 feet to the floor where it hit a very hard object and cracked. So I'm on the VFO today, and I noticed that according to the freak meter, which comes and goes, that it starts low and goes high. So I was on 3715. I'll check at the end of the net to see if I'm still in the ballpark. I tried to use the external night VFO in place of the internal T150, but the switching issues are great. It can be done, but it's too much of an aggravation for a lazy guy like me. So it's not I'm using the internal VFO. And the internal VFO, if you let it warm up long enough, behaves itself fairly well, but it's got added a fan on the back, and when I turn the fan on, then the VFO goes to the woods. So I'd like to be able to run the fan, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll keep experimenting and see what that impact is. By the way, the QTH is Lake Norman, Lake Bryan. We're about, 15 miles apart by water and less than that by crow. And the water's just about at the top of the dam. I'm 2 miles from exit 33 of I-77 north, which means I'm on the Mooresville side of Lake Norman, and about midway up from the dam. So, I think it's time to go to K4QE. I didn't catch the handle, but you coming in good, over.
All right, thank you, John. Much appreciated. And Dave, I'm sorry, I missed who I passed it to. Can you please tell me on a quick break?
John.
Actually, you pass it over to WF2U.
Okay, that's easy enough to remember. I know Mir. Okay. Yeah, my name is Tony, K4QE. I'm located in Liberty, North Carolina. And I'm running ICOM 7851, driving a Mercury Lux Linear into a Palstar AT 5K tuner, which is then feeding a center-fed 80-meter inverted V. And for those who don't know where Liberty is, it's about a half an hour drive south of Greensboro. And been here for about 17 years and enjoying it so far. I'm originally from southern New Jersey. I'm one of them damn Yankees. Anyway, good to hear everyone this afternoon. This is my first time on the Old Friends Net, and I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to hearing everybody else on the net. So over to you, Mir. WF2U from the K4QE.
Pleasure. K4QE. Hello. Okay. K4QE, this is the left and good afternoon to everybody. And signals are just absolutely booming in here. And I'm actually I was just checking the output here. Okay, signals are absolutely booming in here. And I'm running the DX100B this afternoon. It had a little bit of a glitch from several months ago, but it's on the air now and receiving on the National MC300. Signals are absolutely incredibly strong this afternoon. Transmitted so far. So here we go, very forward. About 25 that's 40 to 45 drive 30 overnight. George 220 with a control carrier. And John was hitting 40 or 2. And 20 you were about 30 dB over 9. So it's a DF100B, 100 more carrier, exactly. MC300 receiver into an 80-meter end-fed half wave. We started to have some not bad. Just a little bit of it. Anyway, with that, to Cliff, WB4NKL and the group of
Okay, now WF2U, WB4NKL, Cliff, in Limestone, Tennessee. Also running a DX100B. Mears, I've got some, yours has got intermittent audio. It sounds good when it's up, but it drops down to a low level. I can still copy, but it's coming and going on, sound like maybe a loose mic connection or something. 40 degrees here, and kind of windy. I got out and made the 4.5 mile walk, but it was tough. Didn't really enjoy it with the wind and everything. Steve, the Harvey, or the Lysco sounds good, and that's crystal deals like my little Harvey Wells T90. It's got the crystal that you can vary with the VFO, so similar design. And George, the Drake sounds good. I can always tell those Drakes. You got a pretty good carrier, but when you modulate it, it jumps way up on the S meter. So coming through good today, though. Get good signal from Myrtle Beach. Hello to Tony. Tony, glad you made it over to the old friends net, and good to catch you here. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Gary. K3OS, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff. We're at the carrier level drop here. Hang on. All right, WB4NKL in the group from K3OS. Afternoon, everybody, from beautiful Hickory, Lake Hickory. My name is Gary, and let's see, this afternoon I'm running the Kenwood twins, the R599 and T599, driving a ALS 600 amp, about 100 watts of carrier, and the antenna is our ever faithful 200 foot, kind of inverted V up about 60 feet in the center, fed with ladder line. And I'm also looking at a very muddy Lake Hickory, as somebody used to say, like it's chocolate milk covered here. We've had so much rain that everything's washing off from all of the sides today. But good. Just a couple of quick comments, George. Yeah, I will echo Cliff's comments. Of course, I have a set of twins, and they certainly are fun to watch and fun to listen to. The S meter goes wild. There's a little distortion that I'm hearing with you. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's just a little driving them a little too hard. Tony, welcome, and good to have you with us. All right, let me pass that along to Glenn. And yeah, N4AK K3OS. Go ahead.
Okay, Gary, K3OS. In the old friends group, this is November 4 Alpha Kilo, and welcome to the two newest stations there, K4QE and AD4SX. Nice to meet you. The handle here is Glenn, Golf Lima Echo November. We're located in South Carolina, about 15 miles, probably north of Pickens, in that area, Pickens, Clemson area, so give you an idea generally where we are. This afternoon, it's 53 degrees over here, a little bit cloudy. We're on a Johnson 500, listening on NC183 Delta, D104 mic, and a Cobra antenna. And John, sorry you cracked the crystal there. They're getting to be pretty rare, aren't they? So, Mir, you get a demerit on the audio. As Cliff told you, there's an intermittent, serious intermittent there. All righty, Al, to you in Gastonia, KJ4YEV, November 4 Alpha Kilo.
24 Alpha in the group. This is KJ4YEV, down here in Gaston County, North Carolina, where it's 55 degrees, cold, quite windy. Getting a lot of QSB noise today. Signals in general are pretty weak. Half in Tennessee is the strongest by far, so the band must be pretty long today. So I'm not going to keep it. Charlie, it's your turn. W4MEC, KJ4YEV.
Okay. KJ4YEV in the group, W4MEC, real good. Noisy here today. Some kind of something going on in the background. Of course, my noise level, when it hits S1, it's noisy. It's usually dead quiet here. Anyway, the name is Charlie. We're in Henderson County, North Carolina, running my normal station, my drainage ditch Apache TX1 heat kit, and my landfill RX1 Mohawk receiver to a heat kit tuner, a window line to an 80-meter dipole, about 55 feet up. And it's clear, about 50 degrees here. Just got back from getting eggs from our egg lady and making a run out to Wally World to get some motor oil. I need to change the oil in my wife's vehicle, and I'm kind of mad because we went down on the end where the end of the store there, and went in, and there was a man sitting there by the cash register. So we went in, and she got what she needed, I got what I needed, and walked out there, and the man was still sitting by the cash register in his blue Walmart uniform, and he says, "Oh, the registers aren't open." And if you've ever been to the store on 280, it's you walk halfway to Brevard to get from the garden center to the first cash register, of which there was only 3 auto checkouts on one end. There's 8 on the other end, and there was a line, and what a royal mess. But to have a guy sitting there in his blue uniform just watching people come and go and not running the darn cash register is a bit odd. So that made me a bit late. Matter of fact, I walked into the shack and fired everything up, and as it warmed up, I heard Dave calling CQ. So we made it by the hair of our chinny chin chin. And you know me, I got lots of hairs on my chin. So let's go down to Lee, K4VWD in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, thank you. This is K4VWD. The name here is Lee, and it's LEA, Lima Echo Alpha, in Greenville, South Carolina. Temperatures 53 and wind. Running a LMAC to a Bandit amplifier to a dipole. Dipole's about 138.5 feet long. It's sure good to hear everybody, and Tony, it's good that you found us. And I know 85XX checked in last week, but I didn't make a note as to his name or location. So maybe you'll give that to us. I was wondering, with the wind, has anybody ever had a fatigue break on a ladder line? I've been watching mine some today, and it's bouncing around, but doesn't look like it's in a spot to get bound up and break due to fatigue. Kind of interesting. And with that, I'll keep it going. 85XX, K4VWD.
I don't know if I'm getting out. Oh boy. Technical difficulties with modern equipment. Let's see, can you guys pass me up? And I'm going to see what's wrong here. And I'll come back when I can get this thing smoking. Roger?
We can do that. Real quickly, refresh our memory at your name and QTH, over.
I didn't know I was even getting out. It's my pleasure to do that. It's my second time here. My name is Paul, Papa Alpha Uniform Lima, and we just moved here, I guess about 3 months ago now, to Fort Lawn, like the Mogier Lawn, South Carolina. We're about 9 miles east of Lancaster, South Carolina. over.
Paul, fine business. I have a good copy on you up here in Burnsville, North Carolina, from Forest Lawn, South Carolina. So, if you want to try making adjustments, you can, but I'm copying you with no problem, over.
Okay, Lord, I was neglecting, I forgot the round table, and I didn't write who I put pass around to when I'm done leveling my mount here. You can need that person call back so I can do it appropriately.
Yes, sir, I can. At the moment, you're tail end Charlie, so you give it back to me, WA4LLR. So go ahead, Paul.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think you got a landline. Okay, very good. Thank you. Anyway, I'm running a K3 vanilla process I assembled 13 years ago, and feeding it through a low LS 600 amplifier. I don't know what it's pushing, but it's not doing too good right now. Maybe 200, 300 watts, and it's going through a Pulsar manual match box, and yeah, it's working. But it's being. I'm going out to a 75 meter antenna on with RDAX coax, simply because this is still a what you call a first set up quickly, so I can get on the air and not disturb my XYL, because we're still unpacking from long ago, and so that was one of the first things I did, and to prove my my technique, because I gave away most of my materials to friends out there in central New Mexico. I'm using for my center point, for my feed point is up at about 11 feet, and that's being supported by a pool post from extendable aluminum pool cleaning post that we dragged with us all the way from Florida to New Mexico, and it sat in the garage for 22 years over there, and finally got it to use it for something, and that's what's holding up the antenna. So thanks a lot, and yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed about my system not working right now, but hey, it's ham radio. Yeah, and so I'm sitting here looking at the list. I went on the internet and picked up everything and printed out some stuff, and I don't know, was that you, Dave, WA4LLR, over?
Okay, Paul, did you turn it back to me?
Yeah, I sure did, and I didn't write your name down or anything. I'm sorry. I got the list here, so I'll make sure I mark it for the next go round. Over.
Okay, Paul. Name's Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo, up in Burnsville. All righty. Let me take a quick standby and see if we have anybody else for the net. Come now.
KG4IUQ.
Got you, Mark. Anybody else?
Dave, this is Lee. I got a comment for Mir.
All right. Go ahead, Lee.
Okay, Mir, you got a loose connection or something there. You took up some time and only heard about half of it. It was hard to hear you. So you got something wrong there. This is K4BWD. Back to you, Dave.
Okay, good enough, Lee. Yeah, he's got a bad connection or a broke mic cable 1. Mark, go ahead and make a transmission and then give it back to me. KG4IUQ, WA4LLR.
Thank you very much, Dave. This is Mark, KG4IUQ. I meant to check in at the right time, but I didn't have my gear set up right. I've been working on the Harvey Wells, experimenting with it. I thought I had everything back ready to use the LMAC, but you know, I didn't have everything set up right, so here I am. Most everybody's sounding good. I hear the Paul, I could hear him, but it was light. Lee, I hear very well. Charlie, MEC, he's coming in here good. In for AK Johnson 500. Glenn, sounding good. Cliff, NKL. I think with DX100B, sounds good and clear. The Harvey Wells transmitter, it's generally working well, but I want to improve the modulation from the microphone, so I'm going to try to work on my VFO and get more grid current, and I think that'll help. It's a carbon microphone, and they're kind of limited in the sound spectrum that they react to, so it's I'm wanting to try to get it as good as I can before I get it on the air. The capacitors came in, and I put a new capacitor in the power supply, and all the hum went away from the power supply. The APS 50 power supply. I'm gonna try eventually to see what this multi-LMAC AF68 sounds like with a different power supply, because I know there's a hum, and there's a hum in almost all AF68s that I hear, and I don't know why. But I'm going to turn it back over to Dave, WA4LLR. This is KG4IUQ.
Fine business, Mark. Do we have any other check-ins coming in? All right, nothing heard. All righty, let's see here. Well, we got 16, looks like. That's a fairly good number and a good representation of vintage gear. I think Tony's the only one running a more modern rig. I think he's running an IC751, but it sounds good. And Gary's running the Kenwood Twins, and they sound good too. All the others are older rigs. Steve, the Lysco sounds good. Doing a great job with all that output power. And Brian's Globe Champs humming right along. And the T150 is sounding good, John. Doing a great job. And Mayor, yours would be bodacious if you can get the audio cable fixed, or whichever connection is not staying connected most of the time. But sure is nice to have Tony and Paul with us this afternoon. And Tony, I don't know where your buddy down there, John JPL, is. He's usually in here, but he may be at the beach. Who knows? Anyway, let's see. And Mark, I am looking forward to hearing that Harvey Wells. I've always admired those little rigs. Never owned one for some reason, and I don't know why. But hopefully we'll get to hear it here before long. Well, our space weather looks really good today. The sunspot count's up to 191. Solar flux index is 185. And the K is 2. A few things from this day in history. On this day in 1784, the Continental Congress ratified the Treaty of Paris, which ended the American Revolution. Oh, good Lord. I hate it when the phones do stupid things that you don't want them to. Oh, my. There's commercials everywhere anymore. Let's see what else is going on this day in history. The Human Being takes place in San Francisco, which launched the Summer of Love. That was 1967. On this day in 1973, the Miami Dolphins win Super Bowl VII to cap the NFL's only perfect season. On this day in 1875, Albert Schweitzer was born. On this day in 1943, FDR became the first president to travel by airplane on U.S. official business. On this day in 1954, Marilyn Monroe married Joe DiMaggio. On this day in 1741, Benedict Arnold was born. And on this day in 1920, John Dodge, who was the co-founder of Dodge, passed away. So that's just a few things from this day in history. So let's go back around. WA4FJQ, WA4LLR.
WB4ARK. LLR, this is WA4FJ. The noise level over here in High Point, at least at this QTH, is really high. Lots of QRMary and then a lot of QSB up and down. I couldn't copy several stations. The station that followed Cliff, I think it was a K3 station, but I couldn't make it out. And then Paul, 85XA, is way down in the mud. I could just barely hear what he was saying. And Mir blasted in for a few seconds and then disappeared and then blasted back for a few seconds. So I guess several people suggested he's maybe a microphone cable or something's come loose somewhere. But other than that, I can copy pretty much everybody else okay. Say welcome to Tony, K4QE in Liberty. And let's see, I guess that's about it. And I'll turn it over to Steve. Steve, you're not blasting in here like you usually do, Voice of America. But no problem in copying. And I hope this signal is okay. I played with the modulation a little bit after we did that almost hour-long session. So let me know if you think it's not up to par. Turn it over to you, K4LQ. This is WA4FJQ.
WA4FJQ and 4LQ. Tom, it sounds beautiful. Really, really nice, so don't touch a thing. And I usually try to keep an eye on things when I'm transmitting. There's usually something that either wiggles or jumps or flashes when you're talking. You know, things like meters and scopes and power output and all that. And if something quits wiggling or jumping, there might be a problem. That happened to me last night. I was yakking away on 160 with my Valiant, and I looked up and I saw my power output had gone down to nothing, but the transmitter's relay was still closed, and I didn't hear anything. So I started banging and whacking everything and slapping it, and there was no making it work. And I thought I smelled something. So anyway, I couldn't figure out what in the world. It seemed like the plate voltage had just disappeared. No plate current, but I still had grid drive. So this morning I woke up at about 6 a.m. and it hit me. I had put in that thermistor in series with the primary of the plate transformer in order to stop the big thump when I keyed it. And I bet you that's what it was. So about 3 hours ago, I slid it out of the box, which is a big deal on the Valiant. And sure enough, that thing was, that little thermistor had blown to smithereens. So I had little smithers all over the table here. So last night, quickly as I could, I switched over to the Viking 1 and got back on the air and finished the QSO. Tony, glad to have you. And you've got, Tony has got the most expensive rice box ever made. You guys ought to look it up sometime. The ICOM 7856, along with the Mercury amplifier, you're talking about the price of a cheap car. That's a fine outfit. And I know that Tony is also working on a DX100. He's hoping to put on the air pretty soon. That'll be good. And Lee, your question about ladder line fatigue. The only ladder line fatigue that I've seen is from back in the old days. I had some of that railroad track stuff with the plastic insulators, the spacers. Some of those were black, some of them white. Basically, they were just sort of, I guess, melted on. They got the wire hot and stuck them on there somehow. But in the wind, those would break off, and eventually you had a problem. That's how they used to make that junk, but they changed over to that window line, and it seems to be pretty much indestructible. I guess it could break, and usually when it happens, it's up there at the antenna, right where it ties in, and they've tried different things. There's some of these ladder line stress insulator things you can buy to minimize that. And Mir, you definitely are not getting any audio out. I didn't copy hardly any of what you said. I'd like to have heard the signal report, but I missed it. So I could just barely hear you, and then every now and then you came through like you were actually too strong, like overmodulating. So you definitely need to do something with that mic. And let's see, is there anything else here before I make an old buzzard transmission and have to chastise myself? I guess that's good enough. Over to you, Brian. KN4R on the champ, N4LQ.
Very good. N4LQ in the group. This is Brian, KN4R, Cheryl's Ford, and I am on the Hummy Globe Champ. So maybe one of these days I will spend some time and try to unhum it. But I also have to unhum my receiver. It has a bit of hum too, but it doesn't really bother me. I guess I like it. But let's see. Let's see where to start. Welcome, Tony. You sound great, and I'm gonna look up an IC 7856 because I certainly have never had one. And hey, I wanted to let you know we talked about setting up like the 7610 for remote operation. Well, I have it working. I have it working locally and also over the internet, as long as my IP address doesn't change on the WAN. My WAN address, it doesn't seem to. I've turned off my Spectrum router a few times, so I think I'm okay, but I haven't set up dynamic DNS yet. Not sure if I really need to, but I probably should go ahead and do it, but I got to look it up because I don't think I've ever done that before. So let's see. All the signals sound great. Mir, I copied everybody pretty much 100%, you know, so no problem there. Glad to have Tony here, glad to have Paul here, and Paul, you're doing great, and I'm glad to see or hear your priorities are right. Get the ham station fixed up first, then go back to helping the wife unbox a lifetime of stuff. So, and very good on being getting here from Florida via New Mexico. Want to hear some more about New Mexico. And great on that pool cleaning pole, holding up that antenna a whole 11 feet. That's good. At least you can't reach up there and touch it. That's good. So, and Mark, Steve, you know, Steve's the king of LMAC and LMAC power supplies. He actually added a choke in his power supply, and he says it knocked out the hum. So you might want to talk to Steve. So, and welcome to Buddy, WB4ARK. So I won't hold it. Let's keep it going. Over to you, George. K4GDN in the group, KN4R.
Okay, KN4R group, this is K4GDN, and I'm assuming this thing is working pretty good. Like I said, I'm running the Drake 4B into the Collins 30L1, and when I set it up, I set it in the tune mode from the 4B to put about 300 mils of plate current, so that's about where they set it up if they're going to do sideband. I figured this is not all that different. And it looked like it was about 230 watts with the in the tune mode. So I guess I'm kicking up maybe 500 or 600 on the peak envelope. And anyway, everybody's coming in here pretty good. And welcome there, Tony and Paul. Had a little trouble copying Paul, but everybody else seems to be coming in pretty good. And by the way, the 3001 I'm running with 4 811As in it. I've got some 572Bs, and I tried them in a homebrew amplifier, and I get basically the same power out at a given exciter level. But of course, I've got one heck of a lot more of cushion as far as plate dissipation is concerned. But anyway, I'm going to stick with the 811s for the time being. If they ever go away, maybe I'll put the 572Bs in. So with that, John, it's coming to you. KZ4B in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, K4GDN in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, George. Good copy. Welcome to Tony and Paul. Paul, QS Baker's giving you a pretty hard time at this QTH, but Tony, you're booming in. And Tony, being in Liberty, when I was a kid, I grew up in Lexington, North Carolina, and my Elmer was W4BUL. And I used to listen to him on my broadcast radio on 160 meters, and he would talk to, I think the guy's call was K4YBL in Liberty. And maybe it was W4, but I think it was K4YBL. And I could only hear the BUL side of the QSO. So if you've heard of him, you might mention it on your next transmission. Shifting gears, a comment was made about ladder line. I've got some pretty bulletproof ladder line here using PVC tubing. It's about, I'm going to say, a ½ inch in diameter. But what's neat is I added this. They didn't supply it from the. It was some outfit that used handicapped people to put the ladder line together. But I added Thomas and Betts tie wraps, and they were 14 inches long each. And what was neat is the little tab that locks the tie wrap is stainless steel. They're not cheap tie wraps. You have to get them at a genuine electrical supply house, but they don't let go, and they are rated for, I think, like 100 pounds. And you feed that inside the tubing and around the ladder line on both sides, and that is absolutely hurricane proof. The wire will break before the insulator will let go. I just want to throw that out. And Steve, I am trying to get on 160 at night. Some nights there's a conflict with other schedules, but I'm too lazy to retune my AT5K that I have between my transmitter and the antenna. So I want to use an AT4K at another operating position with an Lysco SR9T and a Titan 1 amplifier, Tentec Titan 1, and I want to use that to feed a off-center fed dipole that's resonant on 160 meters. So that's the news from Lake Wobegon. And oh, by the way, Gary, you're coming in better than usual. So I'm assuming the band is more short than long. And I wanted to make a comment on Charlie. Charlie, I'm frustrated by the Walmart checkout. There's nobody to check you out of that humongous store. I mean, if they want people to buy their stuff, you need to be able to check out. And so when it comes to checkout issues, that's my gripe. Very difficult to check out through Walmart. And they might as well automate it. So, next, Tony, it's all yours. K4QE and the group KZ4B, over.
Okay, John, very good. Thank you. And I want to thank everyone for their very warm welcome. It's most appreciated. And Steve, I'm glad you found the problem. Thermistor failure. Well, that's that must have been quite an explosion there. Wow. Again, I'm glad you found it and was able to get the thing up and running back quickly. And just a minor correction, the rig here is the ICOM 7851. And Glenn, your Johnson 500 sounds fabulous. My buddy John, W4JPL over here, also in Liberty, he's got one, and he loves that thing, and I can see why. It's a beautiful transmitter, and they sound fabulous. And I wouldn't mind having one on my desk. I think my two favorite transmitters are the Johnson 500 and the Collins 30K1. I would love to have either one of them. Of course, I know that 30K1's a bit more rare and a whole lot more expensive to obtain, but man, that's a nice-looking transmitter. And Brian, I'm glad to hear you got the remote working. If you need any help with dynamic DNS stuff, feel free to give me a call. I've done it before, and I'll be glad to help you out if you need any. But I'm sure you can handle it. But like I said, if you run into any unforeseen issues, don't hesitate to reach out. And John, I don't know the call K4YBL. I looked it up on QRZ, and that call doesn't exist, at least at the present time. So assuming that call was correct, I have to guess he's probably a long-gone silent key. And I don't know anybody with a call even close to that, so I didn't look up any others. And as far as checkouts are concerned at these stores, well, they are proving to be very unpopular, to the point where these stores are starting to pull them out. Home Depot, Walmart, and the supermarket around here called Lowe's, I know that all three of them are considering closing the self-checkouts because they're very unpopular. I mean, there are some people who do use them, but in general, they're not well liked. And of course, these companies are trying to, reduce their staffing, and that's why they do it. But it ain't working out so well. I mean, people get very frustrated with the experience, and when people start not coming to your store because of it, that's a bigger problem than having too many employees. So anyway, we'll see how all that goes. All right, and everyone's signal sounds great. I know Mir had some sort of intermittent problem there, but I'm sure he'll figure it out. And Paul, your K3's doing a fine job. I heard you well over here, no problem at all. And again, good signals from everyone all around. And I'll pass it over to Mir, WF2U from K4QE.
Roger, K4QE versus WF2U. Okay, now it's working normal. I grabbed another mic. Luckily, I have a couple of microphones with the same plug that is needed here, and I also have a D104 here, and that has no connector on it presently. And I was preparing to put the proper plug, but time crept up on me, and the net started, so I didn't do that. Anyway, this is a Shure mobile mic. I used that also with the AF67. And it's interesting because I used the Turner desk mic with the AF67 as well just recently, and it was working fine. I had no intermittent. And plugging it through, I noticed, because I'm monitoring the modulator plate count, and then it was going up and down. It was working at the normal range, and then all of a sudden it went which moved, and This looks pretty steady. So I don't know how the quality, but it's plain Shure, common Shure mobile mic. Anyway, so putting out according to this, again, 100 watt carrier modulating upwards peaks. It's not a peak reading meter, but the needle creeps up another 25, 30 watts as far as I can see. So probably it's much more if I had a peak reading meter. But the plate current in both RF and modulator look about right. Anyway, so that's the story. And yeah, Tony, I forgot to mention, since I speak to you almost every night on 160, it was like almost I didn't pay attention that that you have never been here on this net. So it's nice to hear you, and also welcome Paul to the net. Just so to introduce myself, my name is Mayor Mike Echo India Romeo, and I'm just outside the city of Landrum, but not within the municipal boundaries. I'm in Greenville County in South Carolina. Anyway, so everybody's booming in, so I'll just quickly read the reports. Now, Cliff, about 35 dB over 9. Gary, you peaked up to 40 over 9. And Glenn peaked up to 40. Al, 20 over 9. Charlie was 30 over 9. Lee, 40. Paul, you were between 10 to 15 dB over 9. And Mark also about almost 30. And the S-meter is not overly generous here on the NC300 because with no signal I have just the average, low noise but average, though it's about S4. So it's sort of a normal range. Anyway, back to, let's see, back to Cliff there. WB4NKL on the group, WFQ.
WF2U, WB4NKL. Yeah, your audio didn't drop at all that time. It might be just a little hot on it. It's almost like it's driving into distortion, just a shade, or that's what I'm hearing here. But somebody else might comment on it too. But copied 100% all the way around. Got some company showed up in the shack, so I'm going to go ahead and say 73s and visit with this with the company here a little bit, and we will catch you guys next go around Tuesday, I guess. So 73s, thanks for calling it, Dave, and we'll look for you tomorrow on one of the nets. Go ahead, Gary. K3OS, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, the group from K3OS. Okay, Cliff, everybody. Yeah, I agree with Cliff's assessment, Mir. It's kind of fuzzy here. Didn't cut out, but sounds a little heavier. Anyway, I'm going to say 73s on this round as well. Got to do some prep for dinner. My stomach says that's a good thing. And I can't remember who it was that asked about the hum on the LMAC power supply. I've got the AF67 PMR7, and one of the things that has dropped the hum out completely is by lifting using a 2 to 3 prong AC adapter and lifting the ground wire. I put a ground, a 3-wire cable on that. I've got to get in the power supply and see exactly what it is, but I got rid of the hum by lifting that, just using the standard 3 to 2 adapter and plugging it in, and the hum just disappeared. So that and the choke idea that Steve has obviously worked his magic on. Get rid of the garbage on that. I'll have next time, maybe on Tuesday, I'll have those you guys. I'll put the AF67 back on the air. It's pretty nice. I've been very, very pleased with it, particularly since I got the problem in the PMR7 worked out. All right, 73s to everybody. Looks like dusk is approaching here, and pretty time of the afternoon. Let's see, Glenn, over to you. N4AK, K3OS.
K3OS in the group, November 4, Alpha Kilo. Okay, very good there, Gary, on lifting some of the grounds and working with it with the cable. The hum can really be a puzzle. puzzle sometime. Tom, your rig really sounds great right now. I know thermistors, electric radio, some 10, 15 years ago, had an article in there about adding all these thermistors to protect your Johnson 500. Well, I thought I was doing the great thing doing it, and then don't do it. They would pop one by one every other month, and it's a pain to get a Johnson out of the cabinet. So I think if you just get a Johnson 500, just like from the factory, and you're probably doing well. But all the protecting circuits, I would avoid them from that electric radio article. It just didn't work out for me. So anyway, thanks for the flywheels on this Johnson, Tom. You got a nice signal now, really boiling in down here in South Carolina, and it's a pleasure to have the two new stations checking in with us. Paul at Fort Long, South Carolina. I read that as Fort Long near Lancaster, and I hope I heard that right. And Tony, you from Liberty. So it's certainly a pleasure having you join our group today. There's no question about it. And Mir, you're back to normal. Audio sounds very loud, and no intermittents that go around. So, keeping things moving on. Al in Gastonia, KJ4YEV, N4AK.
N4AK in the group, KJ4YEV. Nice to hear everybody on here today, complete with all the noise and everything, but I'm able to copy everybody pretty good. Welcome the two new guys, John and Paul. Had a little bit of trouble copying Paul, but he was readable. And Charlie, I hope they gave you a discount at Walmart there for being their employee as a checkout person, because they sure are saving a lot of money on it. Seems like that's the way of things these days, though. So anyway, I'm going to send on over to you, Charlie. W4MEC KJ4YEV, over.
KJ4YEV in the group, W4MEC. Alrighty. Well, I forgot to welcome Tony and Paul there. I know Paul checked in a week or so back, and good to hear him again. I did not get a discount. That's funny, but my wife did read me a pretty good joke about the whole mess at Walmart, and she said, apparently the story goes, the employee goes into the break room, and there's a guy sitting there he'd never seen before, and he said, "What are you doing in here?" And he says, "Well, I'm taking a break." He says, "Do you work here?" He says, "No." He says, "Why are you in here?" And he says, "Well, I just went shopping, and I picked everything out that I needed to put it in a cart. I walked out there, I checked it all out by myself, and I put it in my car. So technically I am working in here, so I'm in the break room." So I think another joke was something about the next step was to have you offload the truck while you're there at the store. You know, everybody, you walk in the front door, they send you to the back, and put you in the back there, and you bring in something from the tractor trailer. So we'll see how that works out in the long run. Anyway, not a whole lot else going on here. I know Buddy has called in a couple times, and Dave did acknowledge you, Buddy, and I guess he's going to stick you after Mark there, KG4IUQ, so I hope you're standing by for that. Let's see, what else do I got? That's about it, and oh, wait a minute, let me back up. Sorry about the crystals there, John. I have done similar things, too. And it's like it just kind of jumps out of your head or something, and you're playing this juggling act while you catch it a couple times, and then you miss it, and then whack, it's gone. So I don't know what that is about those kinds of projects that seem to have a death wish or something. Or we're just a little too careless, I don't know. And anyway, so let's go on to, let's see, Lee K4VWD in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, still got a great signal. This is K4VWD. Well, I noticed my power meter, my bird watt meter shows I've got 200 watts out instead of 190. And I'm sure that I'm sure that made a lot of difference. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. Let's see. Yeah, Mark turns it over to Buddy. WB4ARK, Mark. So when it comes your turn, and I've got to make a phone call, so I'm going to sign out too, but I'll probably listen some, but I'm not going to be back. So I will say 7-3, God bless everybody. Hope you have a great week, and I look forward to Tuesday morning. 85SX, Paul in Fort Forest Lawn. This is K4VWD.
K4VWD. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it there, Lee. Appreciate it big time. Have a good night. This is 85SX. I think I put some wood in the fire here, and I think it's heating up the amplifier a little bit. Anyway, we're at a nice 53, about 53 degrees right now. Our low is 25, and back in Stanley, New Mexico, you would think that was a quaint little town, but let me tell you, I did this planes, and it was a good learning experience for 22 years. But the winds, the high winds there were very frequent and in excess of 40 miles an hour. Not out of the normal wind gusts, and then on special days, up to 65, 70 miles. 72 is the most I measured with my weather station out there. So it's nice to be in somewhat of a mellow place here. And I found out also, Florida, I think, is still the #1 lightning strike state in the nation in terms of fatality. And I didn't know when we moved to New Mexico that it was second in line for that, situation, that rating. And the storms out there were really intense, especially when you're out in the open plains, up to 6,400 plus feet above sea level. You get to experience some really, really fantastic and really scary storms that just cruise across the prairies. Anyway, I really feel really blessed to be able to join you folks, and the warm welcome that someone else said was really neat. And I hope I'm getting out a little bit better. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, there it goes. Starting to sink. Got to get some more wood in the fire box here. But anyway, this will be my last transmission for tonight. And I'm going to bid you all a great night. 73, and God bless all of you. And thanks so much for the opportunity to join in here. I really enjoy it. Let's see, WA4LLR. Dave, I think you're picking it up. If I'm wrong, you can beat me next time, Roger?
Okay, Paul. 7-3, God bless you too. Goes down to Mark, KG4IUQ, and then over to Buddy, and then Buddy back up to me. So 7-3, Paul. Go ahead, Mark. KG4IUQ, WA4LLR. Well, maybe Mark had to bail. Go ahead and pick it up, buddy. WB4ARK, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4ARK. Okay. Well, thanks for all of those who recognized that I called in. I didn't get in here until about 15 or so after the net had started, and I know, Mir, it sounds like your audio is being hammered pretty hard. I think you're overdriving your transmitter. And Steve mentioned about his thermistor. I guess it depends on what kind of thermistor you were using, but I don't use the so-called thermistors. I use MOVs, metal oxide varistors, made by GE originally, and then they've been taken over by Little Fuse Company. But the MOV that I use, I put across the primary of the incoming line after the fuse, so that if the MOV fails, it will blow the fuse. I have never had one fail, ever, and I've got them on all of my transformers, primary transformers, in all of my equipment. And if I take a receiver down or a transmitter down, then I put one across the incoming primary. And these are about the size of a quarter. They're red. They have 2 leads on them. And Newark sells them. They go by the part number, if everybody has a pencil ready, 01, P is in Papa, 8146. And these are 130 volt MOVs. Now, you can get a little bit higher rating MOV, but these, according to GE, are the best for the 120 volt power line that we have. Let's see what else we got. Well, the weather here has been very nice. It's been quite cold, with 28 degrees this morning, and it's supposed to get really cold this upcoming week, so we'll see what happens there. The last storm that came through on Friday was a washout here. Didn't have but almost an inch of rain, and it was supposed to be much more significant than that, but it didn't turn out that way. So I guess that's it. We'll turn it back over to Dave, WA4LLR, WB4ARK.
All right, buddy, fine business. Any late check-ins come now. All right. 17. Very good. Well, 7-3 to Cliff with company. 7-3 to Gary. 7-3 to Lee. Just got to make a phone call. 7-3 to Paul. Hope you have a good one. Let me check quickly. Mark, are you back? KG4IUQ, WA4LLR. All right, I guess Mark had to bail. Well, I have no problem with doing a quick 73 round if you'd like to. Mir will turn it to Glenn, and Charlie will turn it to Buddy. So let me look at this one more time to make sure I'm not lying to somebody. Mir turns it to Glenn, Charlie turns it to Buddy, and Buddy back to me. So, a lot of good information, a lot of good sounding radios. Mir, your audio is blasting, but you might crank it back just a little. At least it certainly is not going out on you. So, I was just looking at the forecast, and we're under a winter weather advisory from 1 a.m. in the morning till 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Snow 1 to 4 inches possible, some freezing rain, so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens. I believe Tom's still with us. WA4FJQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Dave, for calling the net. I had a lot of trouble copying people back and forth. There's a lot of QR Mary over here. I'm near power lines, power towers, all that kind of stuff. So, at any rate, we'll say 73's enjoyed the net, and we'll see. I'll turn it over to Steve, N4LQ.
Okay, Tom, N4LQ. Well, let's see. First of all, on the subject of LMAC hum, the thing with the line cord, the little adapter for 2 to 3 wire cords, that sort of kept the problem down in the shack where you were getting RF into the power line and making it hard to listen to yourself on another receiver, causing all that hum. But it doesn't make any difference on what goes out over the air. And I came to the conclusion a long time ago it just needs a filter choke, and there isn't any on the high voltage line. The high voltage B plus has got a full wave bridge rectifier and 1 capacitor, and that's all. No choke, no nothing. So I put a choke input filter in it, which is just a matter of breaking the lead to the capacitor and inserting the filter choke. But there's zero room for the normal choke in these things, and so on Lee's I got a toroid choke and stood it vertically, used an L bracket, managed to cram it in there okay, and it looks pretty good, works like a charm. And also I wired the switch on the front so that if you switch it to the left, it simply shorts the choke out and puts you back into the original condition with higher B plus and a little bit more output power. And then if you flip it to the right, the choke is in line. That drops your B plus about 75 volts or so, and you lose about 10 watts of power, which is great. If you're driving an amplifier, you have a hum-free, lower output, and actually it gives you more modulation because the modulator has an easier job to do. On the thermistor, MOV wouldn't do anything at all for this situation. The thermistor goes in series with the plate transformer's primary, and the idea is to stop the initial surge when you turn it on, when you key the mic. That was creating this huge magnetic field, making the cabinet rattle and all that stuff. And the MOV would stop transits from lightning and things like that, but that's a whole different thing. So anyway, I abandoned the whole idea and just cleaned the mess out and put the plate lead back where it should be and let her thump. I just need I guess a more robust thermistor, and the data that you can find on it is a little confusing, so it's I guess I just picked the wrong one, but I'm not going to fool with it anymore. Mirrors Audio, it's not that it's a tad over modulating. It is hugely flat topping, and it sounds terrible. So just turn the gain down on it some. And it's crazy. Lysco, it's got I'm showing 150%. I don't think it won't even go higher than that. The meter I've got will not go higher than 50%, 150%. It pegs out, and the negative modulation is showing 19. So that is just very, very weird to see it on this display here. But it looks clean on the LP700. Go figure. So, and the self-checkout lines, I think the main reason they're doing away with those is because people are stealing stuff like crazy, and they're doing it pretty blatantly too when they use those things. So they're losing too much money on them, and they figure it's cheaper to go ahead and pay an employee than it is to lose all that stuff. And Tony's rig is indeed a 7851, and you can get one. They're in stock now at Main Trading Company for only $13,999. So off we go to Brian, KN4R, N4LQ.
I apologize. This is N4AK. Go ahead and check me out, please.
Good. This is KN4R. Let me make sure I've got.
Kind of weak.
Yeah, this is KN4R. I'm down to 25 watts first of all, and I'm operating remote, and I have not set any of the mic levels or anything like that on this rig yet. And I was wondering if the net might hang around here and maybe give me some advice. So this is KN4R standing by.
Yeah, I'll be here. I guess it goes to George.
And go ahead. I'm listening to call I forget who takes it next. Go ahead.
That's George.
Okay, it's K4GDN, and I'm assuming the Collins is sounding all right with the control carrier. I'm going to say 73 on this, and join in. Hopefully I'll be in here on Tuesday. And so I guess it goes to John, KZ4B in the group, K4GDN, 73 guys.
We'll be here. Very good, George, K4GDN. Just wanted to, Steve, if you could tell me what the brand name is for your LP700, I'd like to Google that thing. That sounds like a really neat test tool. And when it comes back around, if it does, or just break in. And let's see, I wanted to comment on the, let's see, what was it here? The IG. It's gone in one ear and out the other. Thanks for calling the net, Dave. We appreciate it. And again, welcome, Tony. I guess Paul's gone. And we hope everybody has a great week. And we'll hopefully be around on Monday. We may all be snowed in. Who knows? So, let's see. What was that comment I wanted to make? Darn, I can't remember. So, I guess it goes to Tony, K4QE, in the group, KZ4B clear.
All right, Steve, you want to give John the answer his question before I continue?
Yeah, John, you copy okay? Okay, here we go. The name of the company, the website, www.telepost, Inc. Now, that's one word, telepostinc.com, and telepost is sort of like telephone, but it's telepost. It's TELEPOSTINC. You copy?
Mr. Roger, I've got www.telepost, TELEPOSTINC. Is that the whole deal? Over.
That's the whole deal.com. Thank you.
Mr. Roger, thank you very much. And we will see y'all later. Brian, if you need any help and run out of help, just give me a call. You've got my number. KZ4B, clear but listening.
Okay, very good. And yeah, 73 to everyone who's signing off. Again, I want to thank everyone for their warm welcome. It's I'll certainly be a regular on Sundays. During the week, unfortunately, when you guys meet, my employer has me otherwise occupied. I'm one of the few on here, I think, that are not yet retired. I'm getting there, though. It's in sight. The quicker it comes, the better for me, as far as I'm concerned. But I still got a few years to put in. So that's it for me. And I'll stick around too, Brian, and see how things work out here. I still got some time to stick around and see what's going on after the net. So, over to you, Mir. WF2U from K4QE.
Yeah, Roger, K4QE. Hello. Hello. Does it sound okay now, not over-modulating?
What kind of mic is that?
Could you say that again?
Well, you sounded better that time.
Oh, Roger, okay. This microphone obviously has more output than the other one, even without the break in the cable somewhere. Anyway, yeah, thanks for letting me know. I had to turn down the audio gain control of the DX100B by almost 2 notches. Yeah, now, yeah, the plate card is, yeah, it looks okay. Yeah, thanks, Dave, for running the net, and sorry for the bad audio. But this DX100B is on the air for the first time since I got the Yaesu stuff from the estate sale that that I got it, and then I started to use that almost exclusively on the 3715 net here, and the poor DX100 was neglected, and it blew the high voltage fuse one day when I went back to it, and that was in the summer when my Carolina Windom antenna broke, and I was not aware of it. So the plate current just exceeded because it had no load, and then it just blew the fuse, and I haven't touched it until last week. That I had to take the transmitter out of the cabinet, a little bit of weightlifting here, and change the fuse. So it's working normally now with the correct load. Anyway, so thanks for the net again, and it was nice to hear everybody. And Tom, good that you could, Tony, it's nice that you could get on the net right now, and also good to have Paul with us here. And signals were absolutely fantastic. So with that, we go to Glenn. No, I think Glenn broke in and wanted to sign off just before his turn. But I'll try, and everybody else then who left here. Oh, by the way, Brian, you were 20 over 9, even with the 20 watts. Not bad at all. I'll stay a few minutes after the net is over. So I assume if Glenn is not picking it up, then it's going to Al. KJ4, YEV, this is WF2.
WF2, and the net, it's been a good net, guys. I've enjoyed it. Hope to be back next week. I'm going to say 73 to Al and pass it on to Charlie. W4MEC, go ahead. This is KJ4, YEV.
Okay, yeah, very good. KJ4YEV in the group W4MEC. All 73R. We'll see you on Tuesday morning, I hope. And you'll have a good rest of the evening here. And, buddy, I think we're supposed to get about 2 inches of snow and a half inch of ice, so I'm not looking forward to that either. So 11 degrees on Tuesday morning. Yeah. 73R, WB4ARK in the group W4MEC.
W4MEC, WB4ARK. Well, I hope you don't lose power this time. Well, about the thermistors, I didn't get in on the first part of this conversation regarding what it was used for. But at any rate, Jim Cunningham used a thermistor type device. It's K4DEE, Jim Cunningham. And Jim used it on a high-powered transmitter, and he never had any problems with it while he was using it. So it may be that you just selected the wrong type. The way I cure the problem with bringing up a high-powered rig is to use a soft start circuit, and I've never had any problems with those. And because, well, Collins, the 30 S1 uses it, the KWM 1 uses it, and some other transmitters use it. It's a very reliable circuit, and it will take care of your problem. And as far as the Walmart checkout and Lowe's and Home Depot issue is concerned, I don't think these people are going to get away from that, because it's too good of a technique. I was against it at first. I hated it. I would wait in line sometimes for a person to check me out, and they have gotten to the point where they don't have any checkout people anymore. They may have one checkout person in our Lowe's, which is a big store here, and everybody goes to the self-checkout, and they have attendants there to help you out in case you get into a problem. And I love it. I mean, I will walk up there before I will go and wait in line to be checked out. It's fantastic. It's very quick, and I don't see these people losing anything as far as self-checkout is concerned. So that's my take on it. As a matter of fact, I went to Walmart today, and I didn't see very many checkout lines. There were mostly self-checkout lines. So I think they're going to change over completely, or almost completely. So with that, over to Dave, WA4LLR, WB4ARK.
All right, buddy, fine business all the way around. One quick standby. Any final comments from anyone before we close?
KG4IUQ.
Okay, Mark, sorry we missed you on the last go-round. Go ahead.
Oh, I had something happen here, so I wasn't transmitting. I wonder, is my modulation okay? Steve seemed to be saying that my modulation was all messed up. What does it sound like?
Keep it up, Mark.
Okay, you must have been talking about that Harvey Wells thing.
Oh, I didn't mention Harvey Wells at all.
I guess I'm hearing things. Well, thank you very much, and I'll get off of here. KG4IUQ.
Mark, you're like the rest of us. We're so used to Steve critiquing our audio, we're gun shy. All right, did somebody else have a final comment?
I was thinking about Mirror, probably.
It may be. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for participating in today's net. I have enjoyed it. Good signals all the way around. And stay warm and have a great finish to your weekend. 7-3 and God bless. This is Dave, WA4LLR, Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. Have a good one.
Dave.
Go ahead.
N4LQ, this is KN4R.
Go ahead, Brian, KN4R, N4LQ.
All right, very good. Well, hey, I just want to have you critique the audio here. I've got some settings I can change on the transmit audio, but anyway, it's reasonable the way it's set. But let me know, how does it sound? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, KN4R.
Well, from what I hear of it, it sounds okay. You're just not very strong. What is the rig?
Well, I'm remotely controlling my IC7610, so I'm down to 25 watts on AEM.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, that sounds like a 7610, and there's nothing wrong with it. So you're just not nowhere near as strong as you were before. That's all.
Yep. Yeah, Roger. Well, I'm only running more than 10% of what I was before. So, hey, how's the modulation level? I'm just sitting here in my recliner, and the computer is right in front of me, and screen's about a foot away or so. Just wonder if you think I'm undermodulated or overmodulated or what.
It's hard to tell from this distance, but I'd say you're right at 100%. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, hey, can we switch over to single sideband for just a second?
I can I can switch my receiver over to SSB or lower sideband, but I'll have to stay on AM for now.
Maybe we can do a little more testing. I'd like to test it on single sideband here. We're going down to Curacao on Saturday for a week, and we're kind of weight constrained, so I'm not going to take a grid operation. So I can leave it here, and it can be on standby, and I can wake it back up and all that. I'll just be limited to 100 watt single sideband or 25 watts AM.
Okay, so you're going to be operating remotely from down there? Is that what I understood?
That's what the plan is. There's no reason why I can't do it. I've already checked this thing, and I've tested it on another house wireless network, so over the WAN, and it's working well. And I've turned off my router a few times, and my outside IP address does not change. So I think I'm in good shape for remote operations, Steve.
Roger. Are you going to be on 160?
Yeah, I can be on 160, absolutely, with the antenna. I can also, I'm thinking about also hooking my 80-10 to my other antenna input, and then that way, if I decide I want to work, 10, 15, or 20, or 40, I would have a better antenna to do so. So I'll be able to switch back and forth with the two antennas. Of course, not on 160.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah, there's some sideband below us. I probably couldn't copy you anyway if you went to the lower sideband. But yeah, that sounds like fun. And if you want, just text me or call me, and I'd be glad to get on the air anytime and test it out with you. And I don't see any thunderstorms predicted between now and who knows when, so you should be safe.
Yep, Roger. Well, it'll be fun. And I had to pay for this software. It's called SDR Control, but it's from the same German software developer that just made the Mac version of the French software. And for what I've seen so far, it's working pretty well. There's a slight delay. I'm actually connected to the WAN address as opposed to a local address. And there is a low bandwidth setting that I actually have set right now too. So anyway, we'll see. I'm gonna practice with it some this week, and of course it's got other nodes as well. So who knows? I think CW is a little awkward. I'm not sure yet. I haven't had a CWQ probe, and I'm going to give it a shot later. So I'll plan to be on at 8 o'clock tonight. There's also an old military radio net, CW net tonight. I don't know if it's at 8 o'clock or not, and I told Brown I'd try to check in there, but we'll see. I'll catch up with you on 160 tonight. Appreciate the testing. N4LQ, K4.
Yeah, Roger. It's so what I'm hearing is you're actually using your iPhone. Is that right?
No, I'm actually using my MacBook, so it's installed on my MacBook.
Okay. All right. So you got the keyboard for CW there, I guess. Well, very good. Okay. Well, that's you're really getting into some complicated stuff there. It's good to see you exercising the old brain. That's good luck with that, and hope to hear you on 160 tonight. Should be a good night for some AM. KN4R, N4LQ.
Okay, Steve. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, and I'll see you tonight. Hey, Tony, K4QE, is you still here? KN4R.
Yes, sir, I am. Go ahead.
All right. Well, a question. My WAN address doesn't seem to be changing if I turn off turn off all my electronics in the house and reboot them. So I guess Spectrum kindly gave me a static IP, or at least until they decide to reset it. So I don't have dynamic DNS set up. Do you think I need to?
Well, the problem is you never know when they're going to change your IP address. It's not static, so it could change out from under you, and if you're not home, you're not going to have any way to know what it is, to figure out what the new one is. That's the issue.
Yeah, okay, very good. Well, I've never set up dynamic DNS before, so would I just reference my existing outside WAN address, and it can be something like Brian KN4R dynamic DYNS or whatever s.org. But so I would just reference that instead of my WAN address in my setup here. But so how would it keep track of a WAN change if it happens?
So what happens is you have a router on your system, right?
Yeah, Roger, Spectrum router.
Okay, well, most routers come with a way to support dynamic DNS addressing, and what happens is your router talks to the provider. You have to have an external provider. Like there's a couple different ones out there. And they usually have free accounts. The one that John was using for a while, you only had to renew it every 30 days, but it was free. So, if you let it lapse after the 30 days, then you would lose it, and you'd have to set up a new account. But they're totally free. There's no charge whatsoever. And when your router is the one that does the talking to their system. Because what it does is you put in your account credentials into the router, and it logs into their system. And if your address changes, their system will detect that change, and no matter what, it'll always send your URL that you set up. It'll always send you to the correct address, even if it changes. Over.
Yeah, okay, Tony, very good. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll research and pick a service and set it up. I'm not sure I haven't had to get into my Spectrum router to change anything, but I'll check on that too. So, but I appreciate it, and I will let you know how it goes. Usually better if Spectrum could reset things and I could lose. I know I don't have a static IP address because I don't pay for a static IP, but it seems pretty static at the moment. In terms of, I turned my equipment off here and turned it back on after 10 minutes or so. I'm coming back to the same static IP, but of course if anyway, if there's not on the network or something, they had to do some major work, I'd probably lose that IP address. So I will take it the next step, Tony, and I appreciate your help and guidance, and we'll see how it goes. K4QE.
Okay, Brian, real good. John actually switched from the one service where you had to renew it every month to a different one that he does not have to do. And unfortunately, I don't remember the name of it offhand. So let me go find that out, and I'll send you some information once I have more data for you.
Okay, that was great. I really appreciate it. In the meantime, I'll see if I can get into my Spectrum router and find that setting as well. So appreciate it, Tony. Have a nice one. I really appreciate you catching, and I hope to hear you tonight on 160. K4QE, KN4.
Yeah, what kind of router do you have, Brian?
You know, I'd have to go back. I'd have to go down there and look. It's one that was provided, but I'll go down and find the model number. I just haven't had to get in there and make any changes to it up to now.
All right, well, you go ahead and find out what it is, and then when we get on the net tonight at 8 o'clock, we can talk about it some more. That sound good?
Roger, Roger. Sounds great. Really appreciate the help, Tony. And I'm going to look up that 7851. Sounds like a tremendous group. So I wonder why you didn't buy the very colorful German high-end radios.
Those things have all kinds of problems. I'm so glad I didn't buy one of them. Plus, they were $6,000 more than this thing cost. So there you go. All right. I'll talk to you guys tonight at 8. Everyone have a good one. I'm going to go grab some dinner. K4QE.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. I'll do the same. 73. Talk to you later. Thank you, Steve, if you're still listening as well. This is KN4R Austin from the 70.